Oh my goodness gracious. Where's that guy? How do I get rid of this guy? Good evening. Are we ready? Oh my gosh, we are going to review self-storage tonight. What's up, baby? If everybody is cracking and checking this thing out, we are going to get after this thing right now. My name is Will Myers. I'm coming to you live from Austin, Texas. And tonight, oh my gosh, we got people in here. Let's go. I was right on time, but I'm kind of not ready, but we're going to do this anyway, and you just got to be ready. So if you're checking this out, what we're going to do tonight is we're going to review a self-storage property that I've been looking at with one of my buddies. We may buy this deal, probably not, but we're going to look at it together. So if you've ever want to look at self-storage, what's going on, let me see if I can get the comments to show up, but we're going to evaluate self-storage right now. And where can I see the comments? I don't know where they're at. So there's a couple of different things that we're going to walk through. We're going to walk through the basics of self-storage. What are the things I need to look out for before I buy a self-storage property? If you want to buy a self-storage property, there's several different things that we need to look at. Number one is what is your overall objective? When you're buying self-storage, what is your overall objective? Now, there's a principle that I teach. How do you get financially free without waiting until you're old? So if you don't want to be 65 and 70 years old before you finally own and control your time, obviously, we need to start buying assets. The name of the game in traditional retirement planning is replacing your income. It's not about building a big 401k. It's not about building a big retirement account. That's what the financial industry has told you. That's because they're selling you the things that you put the money in and they make money off of that. That's how they build their business and their career. That's one way to do it. That's not the only way to do it. The problem with traditional financial planning, other than it doesn't work, is that it's going to take you 30 or 40 years, 50 years sometimes, if it does work. So instead of building a big nest egg, we buy income. Everybody with me on this? The name of the game is to buy income. How do you buy income? We buy assets that produce income. So depending on what asset you want to buy, there's a lot of things you can do. Tonight, we're talking about self-storage. Specifically, how do I buy that asset? Does this deal make sense? So we're going to look at a deal in Longview, Texas. We're going to review that together right now. But step number one is, what is your overall objective? Am I buying income? There's many different ways to make money with assets. I can buy an asset and expect it to appreciate in value. I can't control it maybe, but that's what I expect that asset to do, is I want it to go up in value. So if I'm going to buy gold, for example, I don't buy gold for it to give me income. Gold doesn't give income. What are you going to do? You take your gold and then go rent it out to somebody and they give you income and then they give you the gold back? It's not what you do generally when you're buying gold. You're buying it because you believe it's going to go up in value, or you're buying it to hedge against inflation, hedge against a cash position, things like that. But if I'm going to buy a different asset, maybe I want to buy income. Maybe I buy a rental property for the income. Maybe I don't expect it to appreciate in value. I'm going to buy it for the income. There's a lot of things that you can do. So number one, what is number one? Why are we going to buy self-storage? We want to evaluate why we're buying this asset. What is our overall objective? That's step number one. Step number two is you want to come up with, you want to decide how much money you want to put down into this asset, into this vehicle. How much investable cash do I have for this deal? So idea number one, what is our goal? Are we buying income? Are we buying appreciation? Are we going to buy and hold? Are we going to flip this thing? There's many different things that we can do before we buy an asset. Do I want to fix and flip it? Do I want to wholesale it? I just want to buy the asset, secure it under contract, and then flip the contract to somebody else. There's all kinds of different things. In self-storage, they have this thing called BIRD, B-I-R-D, buy, increase the value, refinance, and do it again. That's a good method. It's kind of like BRRRR, but in self-storage, it's called BIRD. Okay, so if you're over here on TikTok, I am live on YouTube right now. You can go to my main TikTok profile somewhere in here, and you can jump over, and we're going to share my screen here in just a minute. And you can watch me evaluate self-storage live right now. Okay, everybody on YouTube, let's get into this. So number one, what is number one? Are we typing in the comments? I don't know if I can see the comments. Oh, let's go, Kirsten. Oh my gosh. Oh, add to broadcast. Right next to add to broadcast is ban. Those buttons are way too close. Way too close. So step number one in self-storage, what is your overall objective? Are you buying income? Are you going to buy appreciation? Are you going to fix and flip? Are you going to buy it and increase the value, refinance it, and then do it again? Are you going to value add? These are the properties. They need corrective action to reach their full potential, all kinds of stuff like that. All right, let's get into this. Enough of that nonsense, and let's don't ban anybody tonight's live. How do I share my screen? Where's the screen share mode? Hey, there we are. Got it. Okay, so if you're on TikTok, jump over to the YouTube. We're going to evaluate self-storage right now. And we are doing this. Hello, Carlos. What's up, Carlos? Good to see you, man. Let's jump over to this guy. Okay, so we are looking at this self-storage property right here. We're going to do this live together. And buy distressed facility, add value, borrow against new value, and do it again. Boom. That is absolutely one strategy. If it cash flows, then let's do it. Okay, so as you can see on the screen, I'm assuming, can everybody on YouTube see this on the screen? Give me a thumbs up in the comments and let me know if you can see this on the screen. And if y'all dig this, we might do this more often. I kind of like this. Where's my... Okay, let me get myself over here. So this is the property type. This is a self-storage unit in Longview, Texas. It's still available right now. And it's interesting because they're not renting any of these spaces out. Link for YouTube. The link for YouTube is in my profile. Tap my face up here. Up here. Boop, boop. So what's interesting about this property here in Longview, Texas, is they don't have any renters in it. This was a distressed property. They got involved, and they wanted to fix this thing up and clean it up. So they haven't rented any of these things out. What's interesting, and let's hop over here on the Google Maps, and we're going to go to Longview, Texas, and we can actually look this up. And there's some really cool stuff that we're going to do in here. And so now self-storage has kind of an interesting false belief around it. So now in this area, let's look up some self-storage, and I think it's down here. That's not it. Let's find this one real quick. Platinum? That doesn't sound right. Eastman? Free up storage? So interesting thing about self-storage is that people don't think it can be passive. This ain't it. But I like the picture. What's up? Let's whoop the hair. I like the hair. What's interesting about self-storage is you can automate it. Oh, it's over here. You can automate your self-storage with software. There's a lot of softwares out there that we're going to go through a little bit. Man, I should have saved this. I had it. I thought I flagged it in my Google Maps. But anyway, it's neither here nor there. Let's get back into this. What they're doing right now is they're leasing this thing out. They're leasing this back up, and they started to rent these things out. So as you can see, they've cleaned this place up. But let's get into the numbers. So number one, everybody write pro forma in the comments. Pro forma. Can I type to you? Pro forma. Hey, I can type to you. Pro forma. Pro forma is a big, fancy, bougie word for does it cash flow. It's their analysis of the asset type. In this case, we're talking about self-storage. And you have my pants on. Pro pants. What's up, Don? Good to see you, man. So pro forma is a big, fancy word for big, fancy people doing an analysis on an asset type, whether it's residential real estate, whether it's self-storage like we're looking at here, whether it's an Airbnb that we were looking at in Orlando. Pro forma is just a fancy term. The reason I'm having you write this down. Howdy, Jeffrey. Good to see you. The reason I'm having you write this down is because we don't buy the pro forma. They want us to buy the pro forma, but we're not buying it. So the pro forma is their analysis of how much they're going to think this thing makes money. It does it cash flow. We're not going to buy ever based off of that. We're always going to buy under that because their pro forma numbers, 99% of the time, are wrong. And they're always wrong in their favor. Isn't that interesting? So we never buy the pro forma, but this is the actual sheet from the seller on this self-storage property that they sent to us. So we're going to look at a couple of different things. Do I have a laser pointer on here? I don't think I do. So right here, end of year, they're calling this a vacancy. See if I can highlight this guy in red. Everybody can everybody see that? Let me hit the zoom machine. Boom, we are zooming in. Okay, so this is the end of year one pro forma. This is an estimation. This is in no way. Hold on. We've got some people trying to get to the YouTube live. Stand by. So everything in the pro forma is an estimate. It's not really what it's going to be. What we're going to show here in just a second is their pro forma, and we're getting ready as we are going live right now. Okay, cool. There we go. Bam, we are rocking. So come back to me, YouTube, and the screen. Okay, so it's all an estimate. So what we're showing down here, you see this part down here, the vacancy. I'm going to color it red. I'm going to color it yellow, and then back to red so you can see it. You see where I'm flashing? Okay, cool. So the pro forma has a vacancy of 70%, meaning 30% they're estimating. If we fill this thing up with 30% of the people and the other 70% is empty, they're projecting a loss of $66,000. Okay, well, we got to aim. So before I buy an asset, and I want you to write this number down, I'm going to estimate the numbers at 50% occupancy. That's how I run my numbers on a self-storage property. What is 50% occupancy? What's that going to do me? I'm going to run it somewhere between 50 and 70%. Conservative is my 50% number. 70% is my little more aggressive numbers. How am I going to cash flow? Am I profitable between 50 and 70% occupancy? If I'm occupied 50%, if I'm occupied 70%, how are my numbers going to flow? And look at this. So let's come down here. Let's keep rolling. So they're showing us a total annual income at a 40% vacancy. Where's my YouTube live? Come up here, tap my face, up here, and then go to my main TikTok profile. You're going to see my website. On my website, tap on there, and then inside of there it says free training on YouTube. Just go to my website in my main profile. You know where you see all my videos? It's in there. So the total gross annual income, there's a couple of different units. I'm going to get into unit types, all of that stuff. They're saying about a $94,000 in income for this self-storage property. The net operating income after all of their expenses is $34,000. The net operating income, the total expenses is $34,000. The net operating income is $21,000. So they're saying you're going to get a cash flow of $1,800 a month. That's okay. There's one problem. We have not factored in a mortgage on this property yet. So there's $1,800 a month in profit, what they're estimating at a 60% occupancy. At a 40%. 60% occupancy, 40% vacancy. So the brain's going to click on, I promise, guys. I promise it's going to start working. So can I borrow money to buy this unit? How much is this unit worth? They're selling it for? This thing was $535. Where did our numbers go? Okay, yeah, purchase price, $535 cash, $550 seller finance. So can I borrow money of $500,000, $550, $450, something like that? My mortgage is my mortgage. Here's my question to you. Do you think borrowing $400,000, $500,000, do you think my monthly payment on that debt is going to be less than or greater than $1,800 a month in cash flow from this asset? Because all of this has nothing to do with my debt service. This is income from the units, 10 by 10, 10 by 20. This is my income. So they're projecting me to have $94,000 in income at a 40% vacancy and 60% occupancy. Then I've got property taxes. Property taxes in Texas are big. All your standard stuff, no mortgage. And then they're saying I'm going to make $1,800 a month. Probably not that good. Probably not that good. So let's keep rolling. So is this thing making sense? Is everybody with me on this? Do we have any questions? Let me know in the comments if we have any questions on this. Let's keep rolling. Pro forma, full occupancy. So they're showing a vacancy of 10%, 90% full. You're having an income, total and income, less vacancy of $84,000 a year. Cool, not bad. Net operating expense, or net operating income after expenses of about $35,000. So your net operating income is going to be $49,000. I ran some numbers on a mortgage payment. It's going to cost you about $3,000. I think it's just over that, $3,200 a month. This deal doesn't work in this situation for this particular case. In this example, I'm going to show you how it would work. So I'm just going to round it to $36,000 a year. So $50,000, $49,000 in operating income, net operating income, NOI, minus my $36,000 a year or $3,000 a month payment for this self-storage unit is going to give me a net cash flow after all expenses and my mortgage payment of $13,000. Does that seem like a good deal to you? Should we buy this self-storage property? This thing is not right. It's $535. Should we buy this self-storage property of $535,000 if it's only going to give us at 90% occupancy, 90% full, which is, that means your prices are too low. But anyway, it's only going to give us $1,100 a month. Do you think that's a good deal? I don't know if that's a good deal. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Let me come over here. Where's my thing? So how would we make this deal make sense? So from a straight income perspective, This deal is a no-go. We're not going to make a deal on this. Let me go over here and let me show you a couple of different things that you need to consider. So here's a couple of things that you're going to look at. What is your investment goal? How much cash do you have to invest? What is the self-storage type that you want to buy? You could circle a couple of these. Do you want to buy traditional drive-up self-storage, climate-controlled RV park and vehicle storage, the mobile pod storage? You've seen some of that. You can add mobile pods to like land. If you just got raw land, you can build and develop storage from straight scratch. Some conversion storage. We'll get into that here in a little bit. No deal as is. Now watch that. You're absolutely right. Now watch this. Are you willing to pay for class A or B? These are like higher quality properties, which are under 20 years or a little bit older that needs some work. So these are questions that you want to ask yourself before you go into a deal. What market location do you want to go into? Pick 1 to 2 markets and be as specific as you can. To give you an example, I put one down here. Let's say Cincinnati, Ohio. The market is up to 100 miles out from the downtown. Current population is about 300,000. Currently a negative 0.38% growth. That means it's losing people annually. Negative 1.1 since, I think, 2010, 2013. Oh, in 2020. Got it. So that's going to give you an idea of the questions you ask. How much cash do you have to invest? What's your investment goal? You're buying income. You're buying appreciation. You can do a fix and flip. You're going to do a bird. Self-storage type. Are you willing to pay for a higher quality property? Or do you actually want something that's a little run down? It's going to be a little cheaper. You can put some elbow grease into it and get it polished up. What market location? Let's get specific. Now go back to this guy. They're not really having an easy time. What's up, Money Man? Good to see you guys. Guys, I'm over on YouTube. If you want to check me out, the link is on my website, in my profile. So now they're having a difficult time selling this self-storage property. They've been trying to sell this for a while, and we've been getting a couple of emails about it. And they're having a hard time because it's not cash flowing. And it's empty. There's no income to buy. I buy this asset, and then I've got to go fill it up, which is fine. But it would be nice if there was income in this. So one of the ways, and let me just show you this. So they sent an email out. And they were like, okay, look, we know this isn't that great a deal. Now, they didn't say all that. They're like, hey, they polished it up. But they're going to come up on purchase price. They're going to come up from $535,000 purchase price to $550,000 purchase price, but they're going to offer seller financing. So the only thing they're asking is a 15% down payment. So I can buy a $550,000 self-storage property for $82,000 down payment. They're going to allow me to do this for 2 years. So a 24-month period. Then there's a balloon payment due, which is the remaining balance from the purchase price minus the down payment. My balloon payment in 2 years, 24 months, is $468,000. Now, I could refinance that, get an outside lender to get that approved. So there's a strategy that we could do here. I could acquire this self-storage property for $82,000. And then I've got a $3,100 a month payment. Okay, so $82,000 cash goes out the door to secure this self-storage property. So now I can get it. Then I could work my tail off or have my team or whatever. We could start filling this sucker up. We could go ham on marketing. I'm going to teach you some of that in just a minute. I could go crazy on marketing, fill this thing up. I know I've got a ticking time bomb. 24 months. I know that day's coming when that balloon payment of $468,000 is going to come due. However, if I can get this thing filled up with people, 60%, 70%, 80% occupancy, then I could refinance the asset or I could flip the asset. I now have an asset that has an income coming in. The question becomes, do I think I could sell this thing for more than the current asking price once I fill it up? And what's that market going to look like for me to sell it if I plan to exit it in 2 years? So that's one of the ways. Hello from Montgomery. Good to see you. No, it's got an 8% interest. Somebody asked a question. What is the interest rate that they're offering on seller financing with an 8% interest rate? If it was 0%, then we're in like Flynn for sure. So does that make sense? I can take a deal that normally would not cash flow. And it's just real tight. If we could, I'm going to give you some numbers here in a minute, but it's just real tight on this. Even on the 90% occupancy, 10% vacancy, which you can see over here. And I know spreadsheets and screens and training doesn't always go well together, but right here, you can see 90% occupancy minus my debt. Oh, over here. Where did I go? Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, 90% occupancy minus my debt is only going to give me a cash flow of $1,100 a month. So if I'm not going to buy income, if I know I've got a 2-year window, if I can flip this thing, if I can buy it, fill it up, exit, or I can buy it, add it to a portfolio that I already have, then I can build my portfolio and I might be able to sell it to one of the big boys. There's a lot of big money. And so now this is like, that's kind of a strategy I just explained to you. There's a whole other strategy where I could buy some of these assets. I could go out here and buy. Let me switch to the camera. So there's a lot of, how many of you have heard of REITs? If you've heard of REITs, let me know in the comments. Say me. A REIT is an acronym, R-E-I-T, real estate, R-E, real estate investment trust. A REIT is people like us. We could make a fund. We could make a REIT, all of us together. Sometimes it's big boys like at Wall Street doing this. They create a REIT. They accept investor money. They tell you what they're going to do with their money. That's their prospectus. Hey, here's our investment philosophy. Here's what we're going to do. They take that money and they'll go buy different real estate properties. Sometimes they'll focus specifically inside of their prospectus. They'll tell you they'll focus specifically on self-storage properties. So little guys like us can go out there, buy self-storage properties, and then we could put them in a little portfolio and we could sell that portfolio to a real estate investment trust or to bigger investors that are trying to scoop these things up. When it gets to a certain unit size, then they're going to start looking for that. So that could be an entire strategy. Maybe I can add this to a portfolio I have. Maybe I could buy this asset, even though it doesn't cash flow on its own. I could build it up, fill up the occupancy, and then flip this thing before my balloon payments due in 24 months. Is that a risky strategy? It's riskier because of the 24-month clock. Generally, you don't have a clock on anything. If I buy an asset, there's a 30-year clock if I'm going to get a 30-year mortgage. If you're going to do an SBA loan, there's different SBA loan types like an SBA 7A. There's all kinds of things you can do in that. So, but generally, there's not a 24-month clock ticking on your butt. With me on this? But there's a couple of things that I could do. Let's say we want to do that as a strategy. We want to flip this thing. We ran the numbers. We know we could flip it. We know we could do that. In our marketing, and marketing precedes any business. It is the most important thing. Yes, public, extra space. Sometimes you have a 5 to 7 year balloon. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just saying, you're right. A 24-month balloon, 2 years is much quicker than you think it is. 5 to 7 years is preferable for sure. But your marketing is, you got to get good at marketing. And whatever asset you buy, whatever business you own, marketing precedes everything. If you have bad marketing, you're going to go out of business. It's going to be difficult to acquire new customers. You're going to have a rough time. So inside of our marketing, there's certain strategies that we can do to fill this thing up. We could give first month free. First month, $1 move-in cost, 0 move-in cost, $1 move-in cost. Something really sexy to get people in to sign a 12-month contract to sign. And then once people, self-storage is an asset class that's very sticky. People, once they get to the storage unit, it's easier to keep it sometimes than it is to get rid of it, especially at certain price points. So it's a very sticky asset class. I'm going to get a customer and they're going to stick for a long time. The retention on that versus like, man, what was the investment? Betterment. Has anybody ever heard of Betterment? Betterment is a traditional retirement planning, like robo advisor that you could just download to your phone and you could trade on that. Betterment had a really interesting problem. I don't think they've solved this problem. Betterment, I think, is still struggling. Allegedly. I don't know, like, legally what I could say. My lawyer, that's her problem. But Betterment had an interesting strategy where they would attract, so you could like roll over your 401k, your IRA, your Roth IRA to Betterment. They did traditional retirement planning, and it was a robo-advisor. So you would select whatever your philosophy is. Are you an aggressive investor? Are you conservative? Whatever. And then you put your money in there, and Betterment would have an actual acquisition cost to acquire a customer. Let's say their acquisition cost was $3,000 between ad spend and Facebook advertisement and TikTok and all the stuff they're doing to advertise to collect customers. Let's say it was $3,000. I don't know their number. And let's say that they made their money back $1,000 a month. And I'm just making these numbers up. Or let's say $500 a month. So in 6 months, they would make back the money they spent to acquire that customer. Cost them $3,000 to acquire their customer. And then they earned $500 a month. So in 6 months, they break even. The problem that Betterment is dealing with, and I think they're still dealing with this today, is that people were leaving before Betterment broke even. So they spent money acquiring a customer. Then the customer's like, okay, this is terrible. Then they would leave, not allegedly. Then they would leave, and then Betterment is like minus $2,500. I'm going, oh my gosh. So they couldn't figure out that ratio. Self-storage is very sticky. So once I get them in, they're probably going to stick. So I can make an incentive offer on the front end in my self-storage, and I can do a $1 move-in. Y'all have seen sales like that? You've seen stuff like that? I could do a $1. Oh, I did not mean to click the ban button. I can do a $1 move-in special, get them in, and then they're going to stick for a long period of time. And this is something I could do to work on my flip. What can we do to make passive income? Aaron, I'm going to get to you in just a second. We're just here in just a second. So Kirsten says, do rents for self-storage increase like real estate does? Is there an appreciation long-term in self-storage that could be used to live off or after selling in the future? Okay, that was a lot in the second sentence. It's not you, it's me. It's an evening time, YouTube Live, so it's not you. So number one, do rents for self-storage increase like real estate does? Not as much as not as like a percentage, not as a percent gain, not as much. Do they? Yes. Yes, they do. And that's something that you can control as well. When your occupancy starts to climb, it's always a balance. We've talked about this in Airbnb. You know, when you're figuring out your break-even ratio. In my Airbnb, the analysis between my break-even ratio and my profit, the objective is maximum profit. So if I'm going to do a short-term rental, I want to have maximum occupancy, but I also want to have maximum average nightly rate. So if my occupancy is 100%, my average nightly rate might be a little low. So I can raise my average nightly rate, lose occupancy, but still make more profit. But that's going to be the swing. If I increase my average nightly rate, that's going to reduce my occupancy. And if I reduce my average nightly rate, I'm going to increase my occupancy. It's a seesaw effect. Similar thing that we're going to do in self-storage, obviously. Is there appreciation long-term in self-storage that could be used to live off of after selling in the future? Is there appreciation? So appreciation is the asset value going up. Like if I buy Google at $1 and Google goes to $2, it appreciated in value. That stock appreciated. When you're saying live off of the appreciation, in order for you to live off of it, we would have to find a way to turn the appreciation into income. So which is what you're saying in the second part of the question, after selling it off, is there enough appreciation? That depends on your cost of living. And if you live in a car, I mean, how expensive? Just kidding. What did you say? You're going to buy like a motorhome or something? But the answer to your question, is there enough appreciation? It depends on the time frame. Your self-storage, if I'm going to flip it, I don't think there's going to be enough appreciation in this deal. This deal is already fat for this seller. There's not enough room for us to buy it at this rate, fix it up, and then flip it, and then live off of that appreciation, like retire off of one deal, if that's what you're asking. That's a really great question. And it's like multi-layered, very sophisticated question. Taxes, yeah, for sure. Taxes, we got to worry about that. Okay, so let's go to this question. Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Paul Gray. And let's go to this question. Dude, I don't know why they put the add comment to broadcast button right next to the ban button. Man, that would be wild. Like I accidentally hit it on somebody. Okay, Justified Ventures. With my auto shop, I offer 2 months rent-free so they can do a build-out. Boom. Absolutely. And this is a very great incentive. Commercial real estate does this all the time, where they're going to have some type of incentive to get them in, sign a longer contract. And the business owner usually, the real estate owner usually does much better on that. So great point on that. Great point on that. We got a great question in the comments. Great comments in the comments. Live off the cash flow, not the appreciation. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. She was saying, is there enough appreciation where I could sell the asset and then live off of that? So in this deal, I don't think so. So let's go back to the deal. Okay, so let's take a look at this guy. We're going to go back to this situation. Let's see. I think we can let's look this up on Google Maps together. Street view of wait a minute. Is that a link? Street view of the facility? How come? Hold on. I got all these things in my way. Oh, that's the picture. Hold on. There was an address in here somewhere. Where is the address to this location? Facility info. Rents of competitors. Okay, we looked at that. Okay, let me pop back over here. I'm going to find this thing. Don't you worry. Don't you worry, Sugar Bear. We're going to find this thing. We're going to look it up. And, okay. We're going to look at the street view on this bad boy. What's up, Josh? Good to see you, man. Okay, hey, guys, if you're new here, my name is Will. I am live right now on YouTube evaluating a self-storage property. And if I can find the email, then we're going to look it up together. So if you want to look at it, come over to YouTube. The link is in my bio. Okay, here we go. Self-storage, huge price. Got him. All right, ladies and germs. You ready to do this? All right, come back over here. Okay, where's my screen? You ready? YouTube, I'm looking at you. Are you ready? Bam, here we are. Okay, we're going to come over here. Bam, bam. And got him. Got him, coach. I got him. Okay, so we're going to go to the Google Maps, hit him on the Google Maps. We're going to do some zoom action. And another thing I haven't told you about yet, but we're going to get all the details out there. Apparently, this isn't a sketchy part of town. As you can see from the Google Maps interaction that we're having with this young, fine gentleman, this gentleman doesn't look like he's doing the most, he's like having his best financial life at the moment. I'm not implying that he's homeless, but the dirty pants are indicating some other things. I don't know. What do you think? Vote in the comments. Do you think this random guy is homeless? I don't know. What are you doing on a bicycle over here in the woods? It's looking a little sketchy. I'm just saying, like, what would you be doing? You don't have a fishing pole. Okay, so anyway, we've got confirmation. We've got some people on the ground in Longview, and they've confirmed that, yeah, this is not the most pleasant side of town. However, it may not matter. It may not matter too much. So looking at this, there's a fence around it, but as you can see, you can just walk right on the property. So security, like if you're really concerned about that, that may be something that you need to do. You may want to put a fence all the way around this facility, but this is what they've got worked up. In my opinion, this facility, this self-storage property is overpriced. If I was selling it, then yeah, I would want to sell it for $500,000. Hey, look, somebody's cleaning out their property. Let's go spy on them real quick. What's happening over here? Okay, so they're changing the oil on their car. They're spending the night. They're going on vacation with their luggage. There's a lot of stuff going on here. So somebody's either moving in or moving out. There's what is that, a lawnmower? Is that a lawnmower on the ground? Let's vote in the comments. What do you think that is on the ground? I don't know what that is. And then why is the license plate blurred out? And what is that thing? You see the thing right here in the middle? Why is that blurred out? Like on top of the green sheets? Did you know the green sheets will bring you buyers? Anybody? Any? Okay. So is this like the best thing? I don't know, man. If this is not in the best part of town, if there's homeless people all around, and you're going to rent this thing out, and there's like self-storage, like there's somebody's unit right here, and there's no fence. I mean, can they put a fence up? Like, is there a city restriction? Is that why they stopped the fence? Did they run out of money? Is it going to be too expensive because there's concrete here? Like, there's so many questions I've got. If I was going to secure this facility, and I just got a bunch of questions on this. So run away from the deal. Yeah, we are. So one of the things that I talked to one of my buddies, Kyle, looking at this deal together, is like, okay, and this is just a good practice. What is the price point that I would buy this self-storage property at? What is the price point that I would buy the price point at? Oh, yeah, here we go. In a van down by the river. That's where Kirsten's living right now. In a van down by the river. So we're looking at this. Dude, this is actually kind of cool. I can see the YouTube view. This is kind of cool, right? This is awesome. Like, I'm in the corner. You can see the self-storage, and then you can see Kirsten's van down by the river. Hey, but we are moved over to YouTube. What's up, Josh? Welcome, Josh. Everybody say, hey, Josh. Welcome. Had to see this. Yeah. You and me both, brother. Yeah, we're looking at it right now. And there's some action in the middle. Like, we are live in the action. Hey, now, I like to bike in the woods. Justified Ventures, just don't look like that guy. Don't look raggedy and run down. Just don't look raggedy. Here comes the commentary. And then, no, do all the biking. So, okay. All right. Okay, we got some action. We got some more action. We are back to the action in this self-storage unit. Look at this. There's just random items scattered in the alley. This looks like the scene from Anchorman 2, where they battle. You know what I'm talking about? In the alley. Like, this looks super random. There's a couch with the cushions just strewn about on the ground, on top, over here. There's a nightstand. There's a dining room chair, but there's no table. There's no dining room table. There's like a shoe rack. There's some bucket. Then there's like a fancy portrait with like a really nice frame. That is a really nice picture frame. I don't have a picture frame in my house that looks like nice. So what's going on? What is going on, Longview, Texas? What are you doing with your storage facilities in Longview, Texas? I don't know, man. I don't know. Okay, back to this. Let's check out this guy's truck real quick. What's going on with the truck? Okay, this guy's a mechanic. He picks up engines. I think that's an engine lift, or he's actually lifting heavy equipment. I don't know. Let me show you a couple of cool things. So let's go over here. Any professional appraised value like houses? Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's do this. Fountain in self-storage. Let's look at our man Kyle. Fountain in self-storage. Okay, here we go. Fountain in self-storage. Let's take a look at a good facility. That's something nice. Here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Okay. Bam, we are in the action, baby. Okay, so this is the property that Kyle bought recently. And this is how he bought it. Now, the Google Maps have not updated the changes that he's made to this. I don't know if he's got the fence put in yet, but I think he's getting it done or it's done. He's also, wait a minute. What's this sign? Oh, that's a church. Okay. So they haven't updated the Google Maps. You know, I don't know how often Google Maps is driving through Fountain in South Carolina, but this is the self-storage facility that he bought. And anybody want to guess? If you know the answer, don't answer this. Hey, but there's a for sale sign. So check this out. This is a self-storage property that Kyle bought in Fountain in South Carolina. Let's take a look at the facility. How do I go back to? I'm totally messing this thing up. Let's go here. Let's get you out of there. Oh, how do I get rid of this? Oh, let's pull that guy down. Okay, cool. Kinda. Will I learn twice as fast if I watch on TikTok and YouTube simultaneously? Yep, that's how it works. Absolutely. But you have an AirPod in for YouTube and you have a separate AirPod in for TikTok, and then the frequency, like the drag. What's it called? Like when it doesn't sync up. It's definitely not called drag. What are we flying in an airplane? Anyway, back on track like chiroprac. Okay, so there's the self-storage units in the back. We were just over on that side of the street. So there's these self-storage units in the back of the property. You can see them here. It's kind of cool. They like waterfall down the hill. Dude, a little like special technique. I don't know how you check that out, but that's awesome. So he's got these self-storage units in the back. We're going to go look at this building. I don't know how much we can see. Hey, good evening. What's up, Van? Good to see you. Welcome, Van, from Atlanta, Georgia, in the house. So there's a building back here. It's going to be difficult for us to see from this view and from the other side, but I wanted you to see that. So he's got the self-storage properties going on, the blue and then the red, because why not? If the Democrats get to book out the blue units, the Republicans book out the red, and you just tell them, we charge more for those guys because they suck. You just say it to both sides. Just please both people. Then it comes with these two buildings, which is really cool. He's got this front facility, which we think used to be a gas station. I think he even found records of them removing the gas tanks that were under the ground. So he's got this building to rent in addition to those self-storage units. And as we talked about earlier, there's this building in the back. Here's what's cool. What do you think? In the comments below, what do you think Kyle bought this self-storage unit for? You saw everything that's included. He's got two buildings. He's got a couple of units. What do you think Kyle paid for this self-storage property? Let me see if I can do like another. I don't know how to like fix the Google Maps. I think I broke it or it broke me. Let me know in the comments. We're going to pull some comments here in just a second. Let me know what you think he paid for all of that. Okay, let me switch to layers. Let's go to terrain. Here we go. We're going to zoom action on this bad boy. Okay, so to give you another thing, here is the self-storage. Here's some self-storage. Here's building one. This is where we think the gas station is or was, but this is a building he can rent out. And there's this building back here. How much land? That's a good question. I don't know. Hop over to, good evening, Sue. Good to see you. Hop over to YouTube and you can see my screen. So go to my TikTok profile, tap up here on my face, go to my main website in my profile, and then there's the link to YouTube. How much do you think he paid for this? We've got $125,000. $125,000 is one of the first guests. Paul Gray says $46,000. Dude, I am liking your pricing better than the actual pricing. So there's that. And how many units did he get with this deal? Let's count them up. We're going to count these doors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tenor, is that how it works? Let's go here. Tenor, probably 10 on each side, I'm assuming. And then let's count the blues. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to assume 12 on the other side. So 20 plus 24 is, do we have any rocket surgeons in the crowd? 20 plus 24 is 44. That's correct. So he's got 44 units. 44 units. How much do you think he paid for this? Kirsten, in her van from the river, she's got some like cool Wi-Fi. 300,000 is her estimate. How much did Kyle pay for 44 units? I mean, I don't know how, what is this, like 2 or 3 acres? I don't know. And he's got 44 units and 1 building up front and 1 building in the back. Josh says $200,000. Here's what's cool. Kyle bought the, drum roll, guys, drum roll, here we go. Kyle bought this facility and however big this piece of land is. He bought this. It was a list price of $275,000, but he got it for $255,000 for this land. Now, here's what's cool. $300K. Dude, who is user 394-426-1161-22273? 1, we need to work on your username. That's a good one, but I think we could do better. Number 2, I think you and Kirsten were closest. If you go over Bob, then Josh wins. Josh, what do you win? Absolutely nothing. You win absolutely nothing by being the closest to guess. Why is that? Because that's just why. So here's what's cool. Kyle and his partner bought this thing, $255,000 cash. It was listed at $275,000. They bought it for $255,000, and they paid cash for it. Now, if they financed it, here's what's really cool. They rented out the back building, and they rented out the front building. And just on the income from these 2 buildings would have paid for the mortgage plus profit. I think they're making like $2,500 to $2,800 a month just in rental from those 2 things. Just from those 2 buildings. Been in the storage industry for 30 years. Dude, shoot me a message on Instagram. I would love, if you're down, I would love to chat, like on YouTube or something, or we could just do a podcast. I think it'd be cool. Shoot me a message. You can shoot me a message on here, on TikTok, but there's a lot of people that pretend to be me, so you got to watch out for scammers. I will never DM you asking for money. Instagram's my only verified account. Just shoot me a message. I'd love to. 10-4. So here's what's really cool. The strategy that Kyle used in this, before he bought this facility, knowing he's got those other assets, who are the type of people that he can rent those buildings out? I think he's making about $2,500 to $2,800 a month in income. Don't quote me on that, but that's ballpark about what it is. That would cover the debt service if he financed it. But he's just taking that money in every single month. And here's the other cool thing. Now he's almost full. I think he's at like 60 or 70% occupancy of the units that we looked at, that we were driving to, the 44 units that we counted, all of these units. So he's cash flowing this building. He's cash flowing this other building in the back. Then all of these self-storage properties is just gravy. He ran like a Facebook ad. He posted something on Facebook and boosted it, which is not the right way to do it, but it still worked. He got his first customer for a self-storage unit at $70 a month. And he shot me a text. He was like, dude, this is the best $70 I've ever made, which is kind of crazy. It's true. It's $70 is not a lot of money, but like when you do it, you're like, I did it. This is awesome. So that's what's really cool is the strategy here. There's multiple buildings on this facility. Bought it at a good price. A couple of things that we learned from this deal is that, number one, the owner had terrible bookkeeping. They were keeping it on a spreadsheet. It was cash collection. The owner would just count on the people to come by and drop off cash. Of course, what do you think happened? Nobody came by to drop off any cash. And so there's no money flowing, and they're trying to here's our spreadsheet, buy it off of this. No, we're not buying it off of that. So there's a lot of good lessons learned. So going back to this deal, if we were going to, which we're not, if we were going to buy this deal over here, this facility in Longview, Texas, then what we would be looking to do, if we're going to do that flip strategy of buy it, I know my balloon payment's going to be in 24 months, $468,000 is due. If that's what we're going to do, then I want to keep really tight books. I want my bookkeeping to be immaculate because I'm going to stand out from the crowd. Man, we looked at We looked at several different tax. Dude, we were looking at okay, so we were looking at laundromats, terrible bookkeeping. We looked at a couple of laundromats in New Jersey, the state of New York. We didn't buy there because the state of New York, like, ugh, no disrespect. Just why anyway. Massachusetts, we looked at a couple of car washes there. We're over in Kansas, the Midwest. We looked at some business over there. Even a CPA and tax practice that we looked at in Massachusetts, like CPA, tax, and bookkeeping, like straight up accounting. They're like run numbers for their customers for a living. That's what they do. Okay, let me go over here. Even then, their books were like, they sent us numbers, and then we're like, hey, some of the things are not adding up. They're like, oh, yeah, let me send you there was and then they sent me the numbers, and I was like, but it still doesn't make sense because now we've got more of this income and less of that income, and then the totals don't match. Like, oh, yeah. Like, dude, come on, man. You're an accountant. Like, this is what you do. This is what we're buying. We're buying your tax practice. We can't even count on your numbers. We passed on that deal. So the point is, of all the different assets and asset types that I've looked at, like 1% of them have good books. Like their numbers like look good, which means that you can, if you take control and have good bookkeeping, you can have competitive advantage in a marketplace. Of all the people selling assets, if you're going to buy assets, build them up, and flip them, if you keep good records of the income, of the expenses, of the tax write-offs, of all the stuff that you're doing, and the improvements, all that, then you're going to have competitive advantage when you go to sell. Does that make sense? Hope that helps. Come to Kansas. Let's go, Mark. Mark, I don't know much about Kansas, but I know that people in Kansas vacation in other states. Nobody goes to Kansas to vacation. I'm just kidding. I love it to Kansas. I've never been. What things are a part of bookkeeping? So bookkeeping is really just anybody ever balance a checkbook? Like, did your grandma teach you how to balance a checkbook like mine did? It's income. Like, where is your money coming from? And expenses. Where's your money going to? You can get way more technical than that, but that's the basics of it. Where's your money coming from? And then where your expenses go to. And then you want to balance your books out. You want to make sure that everything reconciles or matches up. And then if we're doing like tax planning, the bookkeeping helps us to match up our receipts for business expenses so we can properly deduct everything. But that's essentially what bookkeeping is. Justified Ventures, the fact a bookkeeper has bad books says something about their business, which is why we didn't buy it. Great point, Justified Ventures. Dude, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. Yeah, that was terrible. It was awful books, man. That's why we didn't buy it. So the conclusion on this, we're not gonna make a move on this deal unless they really start to squirm. Let's go back to their spreadsheet. So they were asking $535 because nobody's buying it at that price because they see the same things I do. I'm no rocket surgeon. They see the same things that I'm doing. I'm not breaking new ground on this. They came up on their asking price, but they're offering seller financing, which means you can put $82,000 down. That's a 15% down payment. They will give you a 24-month seller financing period, and then it's going to balloon payment to $468,000, which is the remaining balance. I'm probably not even going to consider this deal until it's between $350,000 and $400,000 for this facility. It's got 73 units on it. 73 units is cool. It's got 58 drive-up spots, 15 boat and RVs. Oh, you can't see my screen. Let me come back over here. Sorry, I forgot. We switched. Bam, back. Okay. So there's the seller financing. There's the balloon payment. So you would put $82,000 down. You can control the asset. If you wanted to fix and flip it, do your thing. 73 total units. Let's hit some zoom action. Bam, bam, bam. Hit some zoom action. 73 total units, 58 drive-up units, 15 boat and RV parking spots. So probably one of the things that I would practice is if you want to get into self-storage is look at these units. And there's a lot of overpriced out there. There's some deals, but there's a lot of overpriced right now. But what would the number be where you would buy this asset? So when we're evaluating the numbers, the evaluation that we were looking at is over here, net operating income. The net operating income of $49,000 minus a $3,000 a month. Howdy, what's up, Dimps? Good to see you. $3,000 a month payment. Our net cash flow is going to be $13,000 a year annually. That means we are going to put $82,000 down to buy $1,100 a month in profit. It doesn't make sense from an income perspective, but it may make sense from a fix and flip or kind of exit that way. So anyway, go Baylor Bears. What's up, Vin? Good to see you. Good to see you. So what questions do we have? Does anybody have any questions on this? I've been rambling and scrambling for quite some time. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask about this? Here we go. I have Josh. Josh, this is a great one. I have horrible analysis paralysis on my first steps to freedom. How many of you get stuck in this? Just say me in the comments. How many of you overthink, get stuck in analysis paralysis, you're thinking about buying assets, or you want to get started in retirement planning, or you want to do something financially, but you just you get some anxiety, overthinking, something like that. Anybody do that? Me, DJK buys homes. Me. Oh my gosh, what's up? On Selvo, always learn so much from you. Dude, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. So here we were, man, I wish it's on my phone over here. Let me tell you a quick story. Going back to Josh's point, and this is to everybody that has analysis paralysis. I went to Boulder. Boulder is like BOLD. Boulder is an attraction in Grand Prairie, Texas, which is near Dallas, Fort Worth. And it's right across from the Epic Water Park. I was just there yesterday, and Paul is the owner of Boulder. It's this like entertainment. You rock climb, you jump off of these platforms, and then like it slowly lowers you down. There's a drop platform. I did that. That was crazy. Then there's one that's 6 stories high. And he clips you in, you've got the harness, you got the stuff, and then you just walk off and you drop. So I was up there with my friend Alex and his brother Diego. Diego was all harnessed up, and we were filming. We were making content. We were filming content for him, and he was like, he was walk up to the ledge, and it's just a ledge, and then you just jump off, and then it slowly descends you down. Well, he got to the edge, and he was just like panicking. He's like, I can do it. And I'm like, 3, 2, 1. He's like, I don't know what's going on with my mind. And he just like kept doing this thing. Like, my mind, I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know. I'm like, 3, 2, 1. I don't know, man. I can't do it. And so that is a representation of like actual things that people go through when they're analyzing property. But you could see it. It's more crystal clear in that situation because you go, I get it. Like, dude, you got to trust the ropes. It's going to catch you. You jump off the thing. Like, why would you? It's the same thing. So I told him something. I said, Diego, action cures all of your problems. You just take action, all of your problems will go away. Because action puts you into this feedback loop. I take action, and then I get some feedback. So one of the things that I constantly practice inside of our passive income club with anybody that I ever talk to is when you're analyzing properties, if you are struggling with analysis paralysis, let's at least get into the game and start understanding how assets work. This doesn't mean you have to risk your own money. This doesn't mean that you actually have to put your life in danger. Like that's what Diego was worried about. But action, we have to move in the direction of, hear me on this, we have to move in the direction of the person that you want to become. The dream and goal that you have in your mind, you have to move in that direction. If you don't move in that direction, you're never going to accomplish it. So we have to start shifting self-image. There's a lot of stuff that we need to do. But one of the things that you could do is just go, I'm going to find a deal that's good enough. Like if I want to buy an asset that produces income, produces profit, I want to find a deal that I can then sell. I want to find a deal that's profitable, and I'm going to sell this to an investor. And that can, a lot of times, can relieve a lot of the stress. A lot of that can kind of flow away and go, okay, all right. So I don't actually have to buy this, but I'm going to get in the game and I'm going to get the repetitions. And through repetition, you're actually like doing what's called exposure therapy. Like if you're afraid of spiders, apparently you're supposed to hang out with spiders. If you've got claustrophobia, you're supposed to put yourself in tight spaces and you become more and more comfortable with that. I'm no psychologist. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just saying once you get around it and you start to see it, you start to develop an instinct around deals and if they're profitable or not, then that fear is slowly going to start coming down. That thing that's causing the analysis paralysis. Analysis paralysis is the result. There's some kind of thing going on underneath. The symptom is what we're seeing on the surface. Analysis paralysis. That's the symptom. The cause is something underneath. I don't know what it is. We're going to work through some of that and going through a lot of that. I built 30. Is that helpful for anybody? Let me know if you've got questions on that. Is that helpful? Can you give info on LLCs, the benefits? Yeah, LLC is really just legal protection. for your business. That's really the benefits of it. Of course, now you've got a business. You can get credit cards with that. There's no tax benefits with an LLC. Some people confuse the LLC with the S Corp. The S Corp gives you tax benefits if you're making a certain income because you can hire yourself as a fair market value wage employee inside of that. Okay, that's what I thought. What's up, genies? Mark says, I built 36 units, and I wish I would have done it 6 years ago when I first started looking into it. Dude, Mark, I love this. The name of the game is, what's the old saying? Like, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. And so obviously we need to start, like Mark's saying down here in the comment, I built 36 units. I wish I would have done it 6 years ago. That's always going to be the thing. Like whatever is holding you back, whatever is stopping you. I was going to say that. Let's go, Chris. Oh my gosh, good to see you. It's always going to be the thing you say. Like, man, I should have started exercising and eating right sooner. Man, I should have started making way more money sooner. Like, dude, this making money thing's awesome. Or what? Like, it's always that. So, I'm really with my passive income club. I'm developing this thing with off of Psycho-Cybernetics, Maxwell Maltz's book. He talks about changing self-image. There's a person you are, and there's thoughts that you think all the time, and there's feelings that you have about a thing. Like, here's what's interesting. Do you have an emotional reaction to certain words? Like, are there certain things that trigger you? So we're talking about analysis paralysis of analyzing assets. But, like, are there things that people say and it just triggers you? Like, let me give you an example. If you say Donald Trump to half of the population, they're going to just instantly, like, the negative things, the chemicals inside the body are released. You say it to another population, the other half, and the opposite's true. You say Joe Biden, the other half. So I can say a word and you associate a feeling to the word, but that word doesn't actually mean anything. If you really think about it, it's really just noise. It's just like if I was speaking a different language that you couldn't speak, you would have no feeling. You're like, I don't know what this guy's saying. Because you understand the words, you've associated a feeling with a word. A lot of times what we do is we get ourselves in jams. And this is where like self-sabotage comes in, where we will associate a feeling with a word. So like I say money. Somebody goes, ooh, and then there's like, they feel the student loan debt that they're avoiding. They feel the credit card bank account that they haven't opened. They haven't opened the app in 6 weeks because I don't even want to look at it. So like if I say, how many of you have opened your bank app? Just putting those words together, go, somebody, how many of you know what I'm talking about? Is anybody with me on this? So we have to start taking apart these associations with words so we don't have these negative connotations with it. And then what you really want to do is shift the other direction. We want to start associating positive things with these words. Yep, I was that way once. Let's go, dude. I love it. I want to start associating positive feelings with these things that I desire to become. So if I want to be an investor and I want to buy assets that produce income, I don't want to identify. I don't want to create my self-image around that I struggle with analysis paralysis. So I want to have a new self-image. I want to cultivate this. I want to go, okay, I am the type of person that is constantly learning. That is a truthful statement that I can state. I am a person that is constantly learning. I am the type of person that is constantly learning. Therefore, I'm always evaluating assets. Every single day, I evaluate assets to see if they cash flow. So I'm going to go into my little thing. I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet. I'm going to start evaluating assets. I'm going to reinforce the thoughts and the words that I'm thinking with my actions. Then I'm going to associate positive feelings like, man, I am so proud of myself for doing what I said I was going to do. Because confidence comes in a couple of different forms. Number one, to develop confidence, we have to have competence. So if you're struggling with confidence, and specifically in these assets, if you're struggling with confidence, we have to develop competence. And you only get competence, you only get good at a thing when you start doing a thing. You're never good at the first time you ever do anything. Like I always give the example of tying shoes, right? The first time you've ever tied shoes, you were not good at it. And if you were, then you were a natural shoe tire. You're the first one I've ever met. But eventually you got good at it. Some of you didn't get good at it, and that's why you wear Velcros. Personally, I'm a fan of Velcros. Velcros make way more sense than tying your shoes. Just, it's not like popular in society. head injuries are preventable things that we could do. We should all wear helmets. It's just not popular in society to wear a helmet and have Velcros. You know what I'm saying? So to develop our confidence, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Develop confidence to competence. You tie your shoes over and over and over again. The same thing is true. The only way that you learn something is by doing it over and over again. So the same thing is true with analyzing and evaluating assets. How you get good and develop confidence is by getting good at evaluating assets. If we're talking about that, we could talk about weightlifting, we could talk about boxing, we could talk about whatever. So I develop my competence. Is how I'm going to increase my confidence. That's where I would start on this. And then my self-image, association, positive association with words, all of that stuff. We talked about that. So that's where I would start. That's where I would start in all of this. And then we will dive deep into that. I'm gonna develop out that Maxwell Maltz self-image. How do you adjust it? What are some things that you can work on to adjust that? But we're gonna shift our thinking. We're going to rebrand our self-image with some truth. Then I'm going to reinforce the new self-image that I have in my mind with action, because then I can see actual results and I can go, see, I told you new self-image. That can shift a lot of stuff. So, oh man, that was a tangent. Was that helpful? Oh my gosh. I blacked out. I don't even know what I said. I feel like Ron Burgundy. No, old school. I feel like Will Ferrell. I blacked out, man. I don't know what I said. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys, we are at, I think we're at the hour mark. So we got to dip out of here like a potato chip. Very helpful. Master Splinter, will I see you tomorrow? Master Splinter, but Velcro shoes though. Velcro shoes, man. Oh my gosh. Okay, so today we evaluated a self-storage property on the Ubis Tubis. We looked at it. We're not going to buy this deal. We're going to pass on this one. The income is not there. It doesn't make sense to buy a $535,000 self-storage property in Longview, Texas that only brings in an income of $1,100 a month. The math ain't mathing. You know, that's like traditional retirement plan numbers. You know what I'm saying? That's like 401k numbers. You put in $535,000, you get $1,000 a month. We're going to pass on that deal. But it could make sense for a fix and flip. But I would figure out your number on. Thank you, man. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. I see you later. Y'all take care. YouTube. Adios. I'll catch you on the flip-flop lollipop. We'll do another YouTube later this week. We'll evaluate some kind of asset. So pay attention. I'll put something up in the YouTube. You can RSVP, and I'll also email everybody on my email list. Y'all take care, everybody. Adios. Adios.